If we're slightly out of focus, please bear with me. No pun intended. Alright folks, we're just gonna trust that the camera's in focus, and if it's not, today I'm going to be talking to you about how to get radiant skin. Kind of like a chit chat, get ready with me sort of situation. Lately I've been very into radiant skin. I've always had a soft spot for radiant skin. I personally have dry skin, so that's kind of what I gravitate towards. But not only that, skin is alive, we are alive, and lively skin is always represented by radiance, in my opinion. Something I try to tie into my work is keeping the skin radiant, whether it's full coverage or even if you want more of a matte skin, I still try to tie in some radiance, because there's a difference between being matte and lifeless and being matte and radiant. You could still be radiant with matte coverage. Today this is more of an everyday look of what I like to do when I'm working from home, which is pretty much all the weekdays. I still like to get ready and feel my best if I have to run an errand, or even if I'm just replying to emails. I always start off with moisturizer. Today I'm using Secret Sauce from IT Cosmetics. I like this one under makeup. It's very lightweight. I'm just obsessed with IT Cosmetics products. I love Confidence in a cream. That's the one I recommend to everybody. This one is very similar. I just feel like this formula, for whatever reason, sinks into my skin right away, which is good for makeup because then you don't have such a slick base. But I do like the hydration and look that Confidence in a cream gives, as opposed to this one. I'm just kind of finishing this one up. Don't hate it, still like it, but once you've had the best, it's hard to break from it. Next thing I like to do is, this is a step you could skip. I just really like this hydrating primer from L'Oreal. I feel like it's kind of like a moisturizer, but it has a tack to it, so it helps makeup stick. So I just apply that right over top. The feeling of putting on moisturizer is amazing. Just that alone just looks incredible. This morning I did the Dr. Dennis Gross Daily Peel, and I do like that. That I feel like gives my skin this youthful look. Okay, I'm going in with Water Blend from Makeup Forever. This is 80 to 90% water, which means the rest is pigment, and it is going to go on lightweight. Now you may be thinking, like, why am I going to spend $40 on water? Well, you'll see. I like to put this on with the synthetic flat brush. I think it applies best either with that or a beauty blender, because it is a water-based product. It goes on very well, so you'll see how sheer the formula is, but the coverage is so natural, and I feel like this is what women like to have for every day, not when they want to have a full face makeup but they just want to look presentable. Highly recommend this one. But I've noticed with this specific foundation, finding the right brush is very important. We have to remember we're made of water. When you apply a water-based foundation, it's always so beautiful. As you can see, that is a very natural, very sheer coverage. So what I like to do is take another water-based foundation that is medium to full coverage and just lightly apply it in the areas where I see that I need more coverage. For example, this is even before concealer. I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to see, where do I need a little bit more coverage? Where is redness showing through? Where is it a little bit uneven still? And I could go back in with the water blend just on its own and do another layer of it, but instead I'm going to grab for the Nars Radiant foundation, put a little on the back of my hand, put it on the brush, and just tap it in. Typically these areas right here will give you what you're looking for, just the front areas. The other areas, it kind of like can fade out into that natural, beautiful, luminous skin. And I'm also going to put this on my under eye. Why am I putting it on my under eye? So that it can give me some coverage with this finish. And then the rest I can go back in with concealer and cover. Same thing, I could put a little bit under my here and just press it into the skin. Whatever's left on the brush, I'll just blend out into the water blend, the neck. And so this is where we're at right now. The next trick to radiant skin is to grab a liquid highlighter. This packaging has rubbed off. This is from Buxom and it is the shade Venus. I'm going to take a little on the back of my hand. So I'm going to take a smaller brush. This can be a smaller synthetic brush. It can be something like this. You can use your fingers. It doesn't matter. So I like to just use what I have. So I'm going to use this duo fiber brush. Take the liquid luminizer, smile, and wherever I see it shining, I'm going to start a little bit before tap that in and buff it into the high points of my face. I also love to just hit right here, meaning the top of the brow, like where the arch kind of falls over. Now that I'm doing this with thinking about it, I even swipe it on my whole eyelid. I don't like to hit the tip of my nose because I don't want to bring it forward. Anything that you're adding light to, you're going to bring forward. So that would be good if you had a smaller tipped nose. It sounds funny, but then from here, honestly, you can apply this wherever you want. I wouldn't go in here because that could start to look like sweat, or in the middle, but just wherever, because this is a very lightweight formula. That's why I really liked it when I was swatching it in the store. And even on your shoulders, collarbone, anything that you want to bring forward. So now I'm going to take that brush that I just used with foundation and press right over top with whatever's left to mesh the two together, because you don't want just like a random separation of luminosity. You want to make sure everything's pressed in. Definitely over the eyelids too. Add that remaining coverage on the eyelids so that you have an even canvas. Now from here, I still see a little bit of my spots coming through, which is fine. Sometimes I don't really care if like my natural skin is coming through. It almost kind of hints that like I'm not wearing makeup, you know? So if it's peeking through a little, I personally don't mind. But if you mind, go ahead and go in with your full coverage concealer. For my under eyes, I do see my veins still popping through, so I'm gonna go in with a lightweight concealer from Becca. This is the Luminous, whatever, I'll put the name right here. Whatever is peeking through, I'm going to go in with a peach concealer from Bobbi Brown and just put it on the vein because that is my area of concern. Peach concealer right on the vein or the darkness, because peach is the opposite of light blue, the color of my vein. Little darkness over here. I just want to note that this camera does not have a flip around screen, so I can't even see what's going on behind the camera, so I'm so sorry if this is out of focus. I'm hoping the information is coming across. Okay, so from here you can go in with a little bit more luminizer if needed. I definitely do like to do that, so I'm just buffing it a little bit more. From here, this is a lovely Radiance. If you're doing a photo shoot, you can end here, put a little bit of translucent powder just in hot spot areas. This would photograph so beautifully. But if you are doing the everyday thing, we need to set this because your natural oils are going to come through, and if we don't set it, it's just going to move around during the day. I like to take either a translucent powder, a pressed translucent, something like that. Just what's in front of me right now is the Bye Bye Pores pressed translucent powder from It Cosmetics. So I'm just going to swirl my brush into that, get it really loaded up, tap it off, and just look up and press right under my eye. I like to put the most product right here, like I said, in this like V region, and on the middle of my forehead. Don't be afraid to put it right over that highlighter right here, and then whatever's left, I'm just pressing, setting and pressing. You know what I skipped? I skipped adding a cream blush. Cream blush would be great for like a radiant look. You just kind of swirl it into the foundation before you set it. So instead, I'm just going to take a different approach. Contour, I'm just going to use a soft bronzer rather than a contour color, just to warm up my skin. And I have a natural contour in my face, so I'm just going to go slightly above just to warm up my complexion. Since we're not going for like an insta glam look today, we'll just still emphasize your facial features without being too harsh. And I blend it up into where you would put blush. Sometimes I just pop a little bit on my eyelid. And now onto blush, I'm just going to swirl into this color called Hipness from MAC. It's just a light coral. It just looks really pretty. I'm gonna smile, press it on like the under outside of the cheek. Go in layers until you start to see the pigment. You don't want to see the pigment right away, at least in the way I do it. I like to graduate the coloring and then blend, 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 blend. From here, I like to take a Radiant highlighter, but we're going to wet the highlighter so that it shows up like a dewy finish. Take the brush that I put the liquid luminizer on. I'm going to spray it with, you could do a setting spray, this Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist, and then swirl it into, very lightly tap it off, smile, and then just circular motion, just apply to the top of the cheekbone, right in the middle. So because this has a little bit of wetness to it, it shows up nice and dewy. And just put that everywhere that is a high point. That shoulder. From here I like to do a light fill-in of the brows. I'm just using Wet n Wild pencil. Just filling in the sparse areas, not doing anything too crazy. And if you don't fill in your brows, definitely make an effort to just comb them upwards. It just looks really pretty and frames the face really nicely. I'm going to just do a light eye makeup. This is great for every day. I'm going to be working from the Tartlette palette. It has these like mauve tones, brown tones, and they're all matte. Taking the shimmer from Makeup Forever. It's just a white shimmer. I don't know the name right now. I'm just gonna take fluffy blending brush. I'm going to go into the lightest shade and just sweep it all over my eye. I start in the crease of the eye while looking straight, and I just move the shadow with the shape of my eye. So I'm going to soften it on the outside, bring it out, same color, just a nice wash of color on the lid. Now I'm going with another layer, but just on the lid, not in the crease. The crease kind of fades it out. So this is bringing more of that intensified pigment right on the lid, blending it out with my eye shade. I'm going to just go into a deeper color. The first color is Force of Nature, this one's Wanderer. And Wanderer I'm just going to put on the outside of my eye to push this part back to give like the most subtle gradient. Blend it inwards. And then whatever's left, just blend up, merge it together. The same exact eyeshadows with the smaller brush, connecting it on my lower lash line. So starting with the lighter shade. And going in with Wanderer, hugging the lash line right up on there. So now we kind of have a nice light natural makeup. Now I'm just going to do like a soft brown liner. It's also going to help shape the eye. So I like to lift right here. And so in order to do that, I'm going to just take the deeper shadow, tap it off, pull it down into my lash line. Just like that, and then with whatever's remaining, kind of just make a very soft upward motion and just connect and blend in. Just gonna use this mirror because it's closer. So the same thing over here, really tugging that lash line. If you have to go back and intensify right near the lash line, do so. And then just blend into those other colors. I'm taking more Wanderer and like pressing it into that darker color so that they mesh well. That is what I will do for everyday eyes. From here, sometimes I will press like a black shadow onto my lash line. Today I'm just keeping it soft, so I'm sticking with the brown, but I'll intensify anywhere I feel like I need to. You could also use a soft pencil to do this. So I'm just adding more saturation of that brown. I know I'm going to do mascara and setting spray. I do the setting spray before mascara in case it wants to transfer on me. But before I do that, my little trick is to take a powder foundation, and in those areas that you like that coverage, just swirl it on in and just press it. So like I like just the coverage right here. Press it right where you want it. Now you may be thinking, Sam, isn't this matting me out? It is just adding coverage, and the way to bring the radiance back is we're going to spray a setting spray, so it's going to form into your skin, as you will see in a second. That gave you the coverage, and now this is bringing back the radiance. So another thing I like to do really fast before I forget is to put the white highlight right under the brow to just bring that forward. And this has a nice shimmery radiance. I know people really like this look. And on the inner corners of the eye. Alright, from here it is mascara. I like to mix a lengthening and a voluminous mascara. So I'm using L'Oreal Teloscopic first. Typically I love my IT Cosmetics Superhero, but it has dried out on me. Oh, this one is just a sample, Smashbox Full Expose and L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black. Oops, get that. If this ever happens to you, which happens to me every day, I think it's just my eye shape, or maybe I'm just not careful, but where it gets on the top of your eye, just let it dry and then get it. As long as it's not waterproof, it'll come right off, and it's much easier to fix. Alright, so to complete this everyday radiance, I'm going to finish off the look with just a gloss. This one has like a golden nude peach tone to it. I've used this in a few videos, and it is Buxom Melissa Gloss. A gloss with a sheen, or a chapstick with a sheen, really complements this look so gorgeously. And I'm just gonna give one final spritz because I like the way it feels. Set it and forget it. Alright folks, that completes my natural everyday radiance look. If you enjoyed this, give the video a thumbs up. If you want to learn more on how to master your everyday makeup, I will be holding a class on Long Island May 4th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. on how to master your everyday skills, and we'll be going through your makeup bag. I'll be sharing with you product recommendations. We're going to be discussing all different skin types and what you can do to amplify your everyday makeup. So if you want to join me on that class, visit my website at whoissamruhartist.com/shop or check out my previous videos explaining more in depth, and I hope to see you there.